thing I wanted to touch on is the liberty movement. I don't know how many of you out there know me from anywhere else besides these videos, but I used to be a libertarian. There was a time when I was all about that crazy shit they talk. But it wasn't quite as crazy. At the time when I was a libertarian, it was more about civil liberties, let's stop the wars. Now it's all, let's privatize shit. Let's abolish government, point where we can have what Gustav Molinari called PDAs, private defense agencies. So let's go ahead and get away from the rational sane leverage that the libertarian movement had, and let's just completely buy into the Ron Paul, ANCAP, Austrian economics bullshit that he's been putting forth. I'll give you a couple examples of this. Back when Bush was running for office and when he was president, there was a lot of libertarians like me were on the same page. We were like, you know, we don't really like this spying on us shit. We don't like this whole trampling on our rights in the name of terrorism. But then something weird happened. It stopped being about that. Then it started being about merging with the Republican Party. Let's fall in line like the Barry Goldwater days. And now they've completely gone nuts. In an effort to distance themselves from the traditional Republican Party, they have adopted a platform of crazy ideas. When you talk to every libertarian on the internet, they always say the same shit. It's like they came out of a fucking cloning machine. It just pumps them out. They come out of this machine, they say the same shit as the last guy does. There's not an original thought in the movement at all. They say, monopoly of force, monopoly of currency. Everything's a monopoly to these folks. What happens if we don't have a monopoly of currency? They don't know. In fact, every one of them I talk to is completely ignorant to the free banking era, when just about anybody with a printing press and a little bit of artistic imagination can create a currency. That's what it used to be like in the mid-1800s. You'd be like, yeah, I'm making this currency. And then somebody else down the road to make a currency. And before you know, everybody had currency to the point where it was just nothing but confusion. And that also led to depression, recessions, and everything else. If we go back to a competing currency system, and some of them like to hold up Bitcoin to go ahead and make the record straight. Ron Paul doesn't even support Bitcoin. But they want that to be the competing currency. Or you see some of them that are saying fiat currency. Every currency is fiat. It is backed up by something that is intrinsically worthless, be it gold or be it some form of credit. It's just parroting Ron Paul's greatest hits. That's all it is. If Ron Paul comes around to talking about fiat money, before you know it, you got 100 unwashed idiots who can barely tie their shoes, and they're talking about fiat currencies like they're some kind of goddamn economist. It's hilarious. Now, to get away from that, they say, oh, there's a monopoly on violence. Now, I mentioned this earlier. PDAs, private defense agencies. These guys think that you'd be better off without a police force, without a military, and instead, let's have private defense agencies. Because there's no way that can ever possibly have a conflicting interest in the regards of your safety versus someone else's interest. Because they're fucking paid. So you're going to have what? Competing agencies in the middle of the street duking it out about who's going to break up the domestic violence at somebody's house? Just like gangs in New York when they used to fight in the middle of the streets and decide who was going to put the fire out. These guys say, let's have competing courts, because that just doesn't scream ridiculous abuse potential. This is a salad of the crazy that they're eating. And they pour that Ayn Rand dressing on it. And they dig in with a fork. And before you know it, you're talking to his fucking clone. They came out of a goddamn vat. You might as well be having a conversation with a program T800. And you see them all the time. Anywhere on the internet. You'll always see them say the same shit. Has any of them read Hazlitt? Has any of them read any of these people they talk about? Hell no. It's the same hodgepodge of guys that they always reach for. Mises.org says that Scrooge is an awesome guy, supports bribery and blackmail, and hell, the guy himself was a fascist sympathizer who worked directly with an Austro-fascist called Dolphus. He's directly tied to fascism. He even makes excuses for it in his writings. Like, oh, well, the communists were too crazy, so we had to do what we had to do. Give fascism a break. But the point of the matter is, you're taking ideas from utter cranks that you've never read, and you're saying, those sound so good at face value, we're going to adopt those wholesale, and we're going to completely buy into every bit of it. You'll never meet a libertarian who's just a libertarian. Now they got all these little tiny fucking sub-schools, like it's some kind of denominational church. Now the Protestants broke away from the Catholics, and they had all these denominations. Same thing's going on. Libertarians broke away from the establishment, but it's not enough. So they fracture that even. So now you got ANCAP, Austrians, you got voluntarists, which is just a barrel of monkeys. That shit's just hilarious. Just to listen to how utopian and fantasy-based it is. And I've said a lot of these things to these people in exchanges before. The point of the matter is it's not really going to go away. It's going to keep infesting certain people. really vulnerable people who are not really well read, who don't really know how history or human nature works. Those people are very susceptible to this propaganda. They will totally buy into it because to them it sounds good. It sounds truthy. It kind of reminds me of the creationists. There's a very cohesive link between cult mentality, and I consider the New Age libertarian the cult mentality. You go back to Goldwater. Goldwater wasn't this crazy. Goldwater didn't think we should have PDAs and competing courts and competing currencies. Goldwater was just like, hey, I like civil liberties, government's too big. That's sane. That's attacking the issue from a sane standpoint. But when you get into all this theoretical dystopian bullshit, it makes people like me just get so angry that you're just parroting bullshit you don't even understand. And that seems to be the case at all times. You don't agree with me? I welcome your disagreement. I welcome your hatred. Till then, just keep tuning in. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, and there will be no shelter here.